Good afternoon, I'm Herman Green with the Midday News. A special welcome to those of you watching on onespotmedia.com. A reminder as well that you can watch TVJ live on your mobile devices by downloading our One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1, followed by the words Spot Media. The private sector organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, is expressing concerns about what it says is an inability to decisively address crime and indiscipline in the country. In a statement this morning, the PSOJ said its members continue to express concerns about the increase in crime levels in recent months, particularly murders. The PSOJ said it is very concerned that the inability to manage the crime wave could cause a reversal or at best limitation of the growth and increased confidence that its members have been seeing in the economy. As we move closer to the holiday season and into 2018, the PSOJ is calling on the authorities to put in place the necessary measures to make this season as crime-free as possible, and also, importantly, to bring back order on the roads, which seem to be a free-for-all, and truly support the view that the man who plays by the rules gets shafted. The statement continues that the lack of law and order on the roads is a blight on the society in general and governance in particular, and strong measures must be immediately put in place to arrest this chaotic situation. The police have made a breakthrough in their investigations into the murder of a mentally ill man whose body was found stuffed in a barrel last week. Desmond Bryan, otherwise called Wanda Palm, has been charged for the murder of Kedron Marshall. Mr. Marshall's body was found stuffed in a barrel on December 11 along the Somerton Road in Port Antonio. Investigators say Mr. Bryan led them to the murder weapon and has confessed to the killing. He's booked to appear in court on January 9. More words of caution from the police for persons to be more aware and careful during the festive season. The warning comes from Acting Assistant Commissioner Steve McGregor, who says statistically more crimes, especially robberies, happen at this time of the year.
Speaking on TVJ Smile Jamaica on Thursday, SSP McGregor suggested that oftentimes people get robbed or scammed in situations that could be avoided had they been more alert or taken precaution.
You don't advertise things that will cause them to believe that you have other things inside. This happens even in your car too, you know. Don't leave pocket change in the car like $100 just on the seat. They'll think more is there, so they'll come in. And in the day, that is when you're most vulnerable. That is when they will come thinking no one is at home. And at your gate, this is where you lose your car, get robbed. You feel that you're home when you reach at your gate. You're not home until you get inside the house. So spend at least time getting from car to home.
Public transportation is another area of concern as more illegal or robot taxis come out at this time. SSP McGregor is not only suggesting that commuters be more aware of the cars they go into, but is also encouraging parents to be careful of the taxi drivers they allow to transport their children. He says knowing the person's nickname is not enough information to give to the police if something goes wrong.
You use a taxi driver that you know him, but guess what? You only know him as Blacker, brown man.
Driver.
Driver. Where he lives. Grand Span. No, you need proper data. What is his name? Tom Stroke, and you have this written down somewhere. You have his next of kin, you have a telephone number for him. You have proper data that if something goes wrong and the police comes in, you can give us good data that we can go at it.
Yeah. Persons have also been robbed in other scenarios, such as by persons they employ. He warns that not everybody who goes around offering to work has good intentions, as some of these persons are thieves.
These people who offer themselves for service, you know, these cutters, lawnmower, and so on, don't just take them in. 9 out of 10 of them are good people who want work, but you don't take them in and leave them unsupervised outside. You stay with them until they're through doing what they're doing. If you are home alone, I would suggest don't take on one of these. Get when somebody else is there.
Shane Masters, TVJ News.
Commissioner of Corrections Ina Hunter, who's charged with breaches of the Public Health Act, is to stand trial in March next year. The trial date was set on Tuesday when the case against her was mentioned. Ms. Hunter was absent from the hearing, prompting the parish judge to issue a bench warrant for her arrest. However, her attorney, Christopher Townsend, submitted a medical certificate on her behalf. He urged the judge to withdraw the warrant, but this was denied. The warrant has been stayed until Ms. Hunter's next court appearance. Ms. Hunter was charged on September 17 after she reportedly disobeyed a 30-day notice from the St. Catherine Health Department to repair a leaking sewer main at the St. Catherine Adult Correctional Center in Spanish Town. The health department said the leak was causing the discharge of wastewater with an offensive odor onto Whitechurch Street. The department said this was affecting commercial operations and pedestrians along the street. A notice was served on the Department of Correctional Services in February, giving them 30 days to correct the problem. One man is dead and 2 persons injured following a motor vehicle crash near Lacovia, St. Elizabeth early this morning. The incident happened around 4 along the Lacovia main road. Reports indicate that 2 Toyota Wish motor vehicles were traveling in opposite directions when they collided. The vehicle traveling towards Lacovia overturned. The sole occupant, 44-year-old Michael Matthews of Mountain View, Kingston 3, was pronounced dead at the hospital after he fell out of the vehicle. The other vehicle, which was traveling to Santa Cruz, ran off the road. 19 persons have been killed in road crashes in St. Elizabeth since the start of the year. A resident of Lacovia had this message for motorists.
And may I tell the people themselves, if you take Eid from the road for the Christmas, you can't see about the garage, it's full and can't take not more. So what take time from the road. May I beg on the people. The road fixed and the road pretty. So don't take on the time them carry fast. People take on the time. The garage full.
So you're concerned about the accident that claims a life last night? It's
of course, man, because man, it could have been one of our family, because it's a road that connects to everywhere in Jamaica, So what be careful on the road, as I tell the people.
Meanwhile, Transport Minister Mike Henry is pleading with motorists to curb their bad driving habits. The minister warns that Jamaica could end up with over 325 road fatalities by the end of the year. The death in St. Elizabeth brings to 312 the number of persons killed on the nation's road so far this year. In news overseas, 2 people have been arrested after a car plowed into a crowd of Christmas shoppers in Melbourne, Australia, Thursday in what police are calling a deliberate attack. More than a dozen people were injured, including at least one young child, when the car hit pedestrians outside Melbourne's iconic Flinders Street station. We go to the CNN for more.
Police have made clear, Rosemary, that the motivation at this time behind this is unknown, and that's something certainly that we'll be following very closely. But let's keep in mind that this took place at around 4:45 p.m. Melbourne time. That's less than 3 hours ago. So the authorities are very much in the preliminary stages of establishing what they say is going to be a crime scene for some time there in Melbourne. The incident took place near Flinders Street Station. That's an iconic building. It's in the heart of the city, one of the busiest shopping districts, also an area that people transit through and coming into rush hour time right before the Christmas holiday. The description of a white Suzuki vehicle ramming into pedestrians there, as we've heard, some 14 people being taken to hospital there, including a child of preschool age as well. Now, when it comes to also the investigation, the police have said that they immediately arrested 2 people on the scene, including the driver. They have not been identified yet. We do not know yet about charges potentially that could be placed against these 2 people.
And a ferry carrying 251 people has capsized in stormy seas off the east coast of the Philippines. Local fishermen and rescue boats saved more than 200 of those on board, but at least 4 people are dead and 7 missing. Passengers say large waves and strong winds caused the vessel to start taking in water near the island of Polillo and quickly sank. Rescuers said their efforts were hampered by heavy rains and huge waves. And we go down to sports, as the West Indies will have to wait another few days to register their first win of the Tour of New Zealand, as they went down by 5 wickets to the host side on Wednesday at the Cobham Oval. Simon Preston has the details.
After being sent in to bat, the visitors got off to a slow but steady start, with openers Chris Gale and Evan Lewis getting the Caribbean side to 40 without loss after 10 overs. But Doug Bracewell struck 2 blows for the Kiwis, removing Gale for 22 and Hope for naught in back-to-back deliveries. Shimron Hetmyer and Evan Lewis gave the innings some impetus with a 62-run partnership, but the Guyanese did not last long as he departed for 29 runs, being one of Tom Assel's 3 wickets. As wickets continued to fall, Lewis brought up his half-century before being joined by Jamaican Rovman Powell at the crease. Lewis eventually departed for 76 runs after going leg before from Astle. After he departed, it was the Rovman Powell show as he brought up his first half-century in ODI cricket, hitting 59 runs off 86 balls, which included 4 sixes and 2 fours, propelling the Windies to 248 for 9 in 50 overs. The Black Caps got off to a blistering start as Colin Munro and George Worker used the width offered to them to find the gaps and build a 108-run partnership. Worker brought up his 50 before Munro departed, with Kesrick Williams getting the first wicket in the 17th over. The wickets of Williamson, Latham and Nichols fell shortly after, but veteran Ross Taylor guided his side to victory with 49 runs from 76 balls, which included 2 boundaries. The New Zealanders now take a 1-0 lead in the ODI series as the second ODI approaches Friday evening Caribbean time. The last time the Windies won an ODI in New Zealand was in 2014. Reporting for TVJ Sports, I'm Simon Preston.
The national under-20 women's team will get some much-needed practice ahead of their CONCACAF Championship as they have secured 2 dates with regional powerhouse Costa Rica. Jermaine Brown reports.
There should be no complaints of match shortage when the national under-20 women's team take to the field in Trinidad to seek a place at the 2018 World Cup in France. They are set to play Costa Rica in 2 practice matches on January 3 and 5.
We do a good deal for us, a very good opposition in Costa Rica. We have played at the World Cup and I've normally done well at the CONCACAF level. So we anticipate a very good contest and I think it comes at the opportune time in preparation.
And it does make things better for the coaching staff with the games just 2 weeks ahead of the final round of World Cup qualifiers.
It will just give us a good guide as it relates to where we are, what we need to do and what we need to fix, and hopefully we can get everything right in our first game against Mexico.
The Jamaicans will be seeking 1 of 3 spots from the CONCACAF region to the World Cup, and they could benefit from being familiar with the stadium in Trinidad where the qualifiers will be played, as they contested 2 practice matches there earlier this year.
That's probably the only advantage, that we played there before, we have been there, know what it is like, and then that's it. I don't think it really gives us another advantage, to be honest.
The young Reggae Girls are drawn in Group B alongside the USA, Nicaragua and Mexico, who they'll open against on January 19. Jermaine Brown reporting for TVJ Sports.
And that wraps up the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. Join us at 7 for the Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.